All right, you guys, happy Sunday. Welcome to No Reserve Weekly. It's a new series I'm going to do where we dive into our favorite no reserve auctions week after week. And this week, I'm particularly excited because we have this beautiful 1979 Porsche 930 project. This is one of the crown jewels in the Porsche realm, featuring a 3.3 liter turbocharged flat six, 4-speed manual, rear engine, rear wheel drive, widely known as the original Widowmaker. Paper, it's exactly what every Porsche enthusiast wants, except this one hasn't ran in over 3 decades. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the Bring a Trailer ad. 1979 Porsche 930 Turbo project, $23,000. It ends in 3 days. It's no reserve. And look at how beautiful that is. Gorgeous shot at the top. Looks incredible from this angle. You can see a little bit of bodywork here in the lower panels. But the paint's absolutely what you'd expect. This 1979 Porsche 930 Turbo suffered an accident in the early 1990s that resulted in partial disassembly and 34 years of storage. 34 years! Oh my gosh. Replacement bodywork has been since been installed, and the car is finished in a mixture of gray primer and worn out black paint. The turbocharged 3.3 liter flat six has 2 broken head studs, as well as low compression in 1 cylinder, and it will require a rebuild. That's about $30,000 to $40,000 right there. Installed equipment includes a 4-speed manual transaxle, 16-inch Fuchs alloy wheels, a rear spoiler, Bosch fog lamps, sport seats, and power windows, and the car is accompanied by a variety of spare and removed parts. This non-running 930 Turbo project is now offered by the selling dealer, a Bring a Trailer local partner at No Reserve in Arizona, with service records, frame measurements, spare parts, and a branded California title. All right, so it's local to me. That's cool. I just never get sick of looking at these cars. Look at that. They're just beautiful. The car was in an accident in the early 1990s, after which it was issued a salvage title, partially disassembled, and put into storage. Replacement bodywork has since been installed, prepared, and primed. The windows have been tinted. Fog lamps with Bosch branded covers are located up front, and there is a T-tray spoiler out the back. The windshield is not secured, and the selling dealer recommends further bodywork prior to finishing. Okay. Oh, there we go. There's our bodywork. So some sort of side impact, I'm guessing. Wow. This is sometimes, interesting, because you'll end up with cars like this, particularly ones with side impacts. You can end up with some very unusual door seams. But this actually doesn't look bad. Granted, you never know how it was done without further inspection, but certainly doesn't look terrible just looking at it. But it would be nice to see before photos whenever that accident occurred, which I doubt they have. Staggered with 16-inch Fuchs alloy wheels are mounted with older tires. Stopping power is provided by power-assisted 4-wheel ventilated discs. I love those wheels. Never get sick of seeing those. Yep, here's our first interior shot. You can see some of the leather kind of chipping and flaking. It's obviously to be expected from a car this old. Trimmed in black leather, the cabin has been partially disassembled, and its condition can be seen in the gallery below. The center air vent and head unit have been removed, along with some of the switchgear and floor coverings, and there is no speaker in the left door. Flaws include torn upholstery and headliner imperfections. Equipment includes sport seats up front, as well as cassette tape storage in the center stack. There's our cluster shot, and you can see here you get these switches that are all missing. It should be there. Your vents are missing. Obviously no stereo, so it very much looks like they just sort of pieced the dash together, threw it in to make it presentation worthy. And the 3-spoke leather-wrapped steering wheel frames a 150 mile/hour speedometer and a tachometer with 6,700 RPM redline, as well as an analog clock, gauges for oil temperature, oil pressure, and fuel level. The 6-digit odometer shows 40,000 miles. And there we go. We got a shot of an engine. 3.3 liter, flat 6. Absolutely beautiful and iconic. The turbocharged and intercooled 3.3 liter flat 6 turns over and has good compression in 5 of its cylinders per the selling dealer. However, its fuel system is disconnected. 2 head studs are broken and a rebuild is recommended. Compression test readings are visible in the gallery below. So what I'm thinking here is, since we've got compression in 5 of its cylinders that they stated is good, I'm assuming we've got a low compression cylinder, which I'm assuming is also associated with those 2 broken head studs. So that's interesting. Wish I knew more about that. Power is sent to the rear wheels through a 4-speed manual transaxle. The undercarriage doesn't look hateful. We've got some rust, but I've seen much worse. This isn't terrible. Not bad at all. Here we go. Looks like we've got some frame measurements. Interesting. All written by hand. Handwritten frame measurements can be seen in the gallery below, alongside photographs of included parts and service records. The car is located in Arizona, but is titled in California, and it's not recently passed a California emissions inspection. The California title carries a salvaged brand. Okay. All right. There's our Bring a Trailer partner, Avant Garde. Not familiar with that. 911R, Bring a Trailer partner. Let's dive into some of these photos. Let's take a look. All right, man. I just never get sick of looking at these. These are just beautiful cars. So iconic. Wow. Absolutely beautiful car. The bodywork just doesn't look terrible, but again, I'm not an expert here, and it'd be interesting to see in person. I may actually try and make an appointment and see if we can see it. That would be great. Just beautiful. The lines in a couple spots could be deceiving because of the photograph, but you can see here the gaps between the bumper and the hood do appear to be much smaller on one side versus another. Definitely not uncommon in a car that's been in an accident. Very hard to straighten out some of these cars. I'd imagine that's the case with this. Some difficult body work to do. There's those Bosch, well, at least they're covers. Looks like we've got, this is the stuff I always pay attention to here. You've got missing hardware in those lights. It's just going to be a lot of little things when you take on projects like this that you don't see or take into consideration that do play a role later on when it comes to sourcing parts. Oh. Yep, paint's in pretty rough shape, obviously, so it's going to need a whole new paint job. You can see here that other headlight ring we were looking at was the silver trim. It looks like this one is black, and it has complete with hardware. So again, it's just, or maybe that could even be just a trim piece, I'm not sure. Interesting. Maybe it's a veneer. I'm not exactly sure if that's how these were. And there was a rubber seal or something of sorts below it. No windshield wipers. Those have been removed. You can see that primer. You don't know how it is underneath, but I mean, it certainly doesn't look terrible. I've seen much worse. You're not seeing things like cracking or anything like that. So depending on how long ago this was, this could be good body work. Granted, I don't know how it was stored either. Looks like an antenna missing or something. There's our windshield wipers again. Let's go back to that body work. Yeah, there's more body work at the top there. A lot of impacted panels. I love the wide body on these. Never gets old looking at these. Insane. It's just pieces of artwork. I mean, it really just doesn't look bad at all. I've seen much worse projects. Question is how straight is the body? Those measurements do matter. Looks like, I don't know if this is a cap or something here that needs to be... You start noticing little things like that and you just see... All I see is dollar signs. Lots of little things. It's always the little things. You end up with these huge part orders that you never anticipated as you start putting things together, and that's if you can source the parts. Another shot of the interior. Looks like the pedals are all missing, so all those systems are out. Very much looks like this was in a lot of pieces and then they put it all back together again. Very interesting. Wonder why they bailed on the project. I love these cars. They just look so cool. Instrument clusters, all this analog stuff. Just really fascinating. Got the sunroof. Headliner definitely doesn't look great, but I've seen much worse. And maybe that looks kind of bad there, but I'm surprised these seats aren't more ripped up. Try and speed through some of these pictures here as much as I want to linger on them. Looks like we've got some rust here underneath the rear passenger seats. I don't know what's going on with that, although it was a California car, so absolutely rust is expected. It's got your gas tank. It's all disconnected. Brake system. So many photos. Oh, here we go. We got compression tests. Compression test numbers. 121. These should be between 120 and 140 PSI. 123.7, 129.3, 130.8, 120, and 69.4. Okay. So there's our bad cylinder. The other numbers are relatively close. I think they're supposed to be within a roughly no more than a 10% deviation of one another. So I think those 5 cylinders are largely healthy, but this 69.4 I would imagine has to do with those 2 cracked head studs. So that's interesting. I just can't stop saying how incredible these cars are. They're just amazing. More shots of the underside there. You got your steering rack. Some of this stuff looks new. Interesting. Really incredible engineering when you think about a car from '79. I mean, this is really amazing stuff. Unbelievable. Definitely some rust, as expected, but again, not the worst I've seen. I've seen much worse, especially coming from the vintage Volkswagen world. This is definitely a passion project. If you want to do this right, it's going to cost quite a bit of money and time to make it happen. Definitely going to sink more time and money into it, I think, than what you're actually going to get out of it. You could technically, you could turn a profit, I think, on this, but it won't be a profit considering time is what I'm thinking, depending on how you factor it, whether you're paying somebody to do this work or doing a lot of it yourself. But this is definitely one of those things, though, that, I mean, this car is just beautiful. I'm infatuated. This is incredible. Looks like they've got a lot of documentation with it as well. Frame measurements, very detailed, assuming that was all done by a professional body shop. Automotive repair. Looks like we've got smog check from California. Registration copies. Lots of replacement parts. Looks like almost a $3,000 bill there from '91 for the front clip. Some of the body work. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a big bill. Very expensive, especially given that this was done again in '91. They even have a copy of the check there. Look at that. Interesting. Very expensive. I think these cars were right around $40,000 in '79. So that's probably 180,000 or so today is what a car like this would cost. So back in '79, this was no doubt the cat's meow for sure. More documentation. $335 photos in this stack. That's crazy. Gotta love Bring a Trailer. Lots of extra parts. We got some wires, hoses, a bunch of miscellaneous parts that look like they've been removed over the years. More hoses, some sort of steering column maybe. There's your pedals. There's our missing pedals right there. And lots and lots of goodies, parts, electronics. Looks like very similar ducting that's in my Volkswagen for routing air. There's a stack of wires there. Looks like maybe some switches. Ashtray. All sorts of good stuff. There's our keys. Look at that. I love that. Short shifter kit. These, we got new axles. Nice. Some of these stuff is very expensive, so it's cool to see a lot of these parts. They retained a lot of these. Didn't lose track of them. Because it's often these very small things that you'll go and try and source and find out that they're a small fortune to replace. It looks like there's a mid-project photo of it. I'm sure sitting in the garage prior to the dealer picking it up. Yeah, look at that. Just sat for years waiting. And there's our California title. All right, so, wow. Beautiful car. Good one. I was just wondering if there was any photos of the damage before it was repaired. I was a frame tech for 50 years, and I'm very familiar with the laser measurement in the 90s. The photos would tell the whole story. Bodywork, no problem. Engine, ugh, yeah. The engine's a fortune to get rebuilt on these. Even if you do it yourself, you're still looking at a considerable amount in parts and machining work potentially. And it's not unheard of to have a $30,000 to $40,000 repair bill from a professional air-cooled Porsche engine builder. I don't know. This one is a tough one to pass up. Very uncommon to see a 930 in project state. Ooh. I don't know. What do you guys think? A tough one. I don't know. This is one of those ones that you could spend. There's got to be a cap. I mean, you can't. This is one of those projects at auction that could really get away quickly, especially in the final days, hours, minutes, seconds. And yeah, there's just so much potential here. A 930 turbo is always worth getting going again, but I don't know that it's worth. There is a cap. I don't think it's worth going crazy to where it doesn't make financial sense. But I'd say there's a number here for sure. For some reason, I want to say it's maybe 50,000, roughly. Anything more than that, you're definitely not getting ahead, no matter how you factor it. I think when it comes to an engine rebuild and all the things that I saw when it comes to body work, that stuff adds up really quickly. And given that it's a salvage title, salvage titles will always be something that hurts a car no matter what, because it's always just a bargaining chip. You can have a perfectly repaired car. Somebody will always use the salvage title. I've seen that many times. Some of the best cars that I've had have been salvage. Straight as an arrow. Drive better than anything else that I have. And time again, though, you go to sell those cars and it hurts the value massively. And this is going to be no different. It is maybe slightly better in that it is a true classic. You know, it's not the same as, let's just say you have a 4th gen Camaro with a salvage title. It's going to hurt the value a lot, but not in the same way that car would be. Not for something like this. This is a piece of history. It's just a little bit different. I don't know. I'm really considering. I might put a bid in on this. I think we should. I think we should put a bid on it. I don't know what this becomes, but I think you have to. Yep, let's do it. 23,250. Bid successful. Congratulations, you're the high bidder. Your bid has been posted in the comment flow on the listing, and you can see other bids there as they happen. Good luck. All right, there we are. We are the high bidder. Gosh, this would be a really cool project. I don't need another project, but yeah, this is too good to pass up. So we'll see how this plays out in the next few days, but let me know in the comments what you think. Have you ever seen a 930 turbo project? I would love to hear about what your favorite projects have been in the past. I'd also like to hear what your perspective is on this one in the comments. What do you guys think it's worth? Where do you guys think it's going to top out at? And how much do you think it'll cost to bring it back to its prime? And I'm talking a well-sorted driver. This is a salvage title car, so we're not ever going to see anything show condition because that will always be there no matter what. So it's never going to be a museum piece. There's no way. Well, I don't know. These are special. Never say never. Have a good day, guys. Peace.